Alright, I'm here. I didn't die. Um, I didn't post a video about Talladega because it's not even worth mentioning. That track pisses me off, and I never liked it to begin with. I hate restrictor plate tracks. They piss me off because it's never about the person winning having skill. It's about just luck, and it was a shit show, and it was the most boring, stupidest race I've ever seen in my life. It's not even. It feels like it's not even worth talking about when only one team decided to lead the entire pack single file for the entire freaking race. And it just felt like it was such a shady and weird timing that Almirola won. Like he's only won 2 races, and both on restrictor plate tracks, but years apart from each other. And they kept like milking this story like after he won, like, oh, it's like a week in the make. Like, what a week a difference makes. I'm like, a week? You mean 149 races? That's not a week. That is like multiple years being in crappy equipment. No offense to Richard Petty or anything, but crappy equipment. But now it gets top-notch equipment, and he's going through this. He went through the same bullshit that Jace went through with the bad luck and this and that. But no one did the oh woe is me with Chase and all that when he finally won. Like, oh, what difference this makes and this and that. It's like they're trying to eat out of the palm of Stuart Haas's hands. Like they want all 4 cars in the playoffs. It's like what their goal is. I'm not saying NASCAR is being shady, but the timing and the weirdness of the whole situation rubs me the wrong way. Don't call me crazy because I'm not the only one who thinks this. So, and the last wreck of the race, why wasn't a caution called? I'm sorry, but yes, cars were off like the racing surface, but they were dead in the water. Ambulance was called for 2 drivers, even though they were perfectly fine, but they still should have thrown a freaking caution for those drivers. Like, no, there was no mention of that wreck until like hours later. It's like, oh, let's get talk about this wreck that happened on the last lap. But instead, let's talk about Eric Almirola, the underdog story, and all of Stuart Haas. We don't give 2 shits about. Like, I don't give a shit anymore about Stuart Haas. They're like, oh, they're so fast and dominant. Like, what I found out is like most of the Ford um, drivers, like crew chiefs or stuff like that, were like in cahoots with each other, having like this meeting and like having this plan out. Like, shouldn't that not be allowed? That's just That's just bullshit. I'm sorry, but anyway, that was bullshit. Chase wrecked out. Didn't matter much to me because he won at Dover, but he missed out on crucial like points that he could have had going into the next round. Even though he has a win, but he wants to get those playoff points, but that didn't happen because NASCAR is very freaking inconsistent with their rules and the way they throw cautions. Like, someone says, like, because it was Chase Elliott, I'm like, why would they not throw a caution if it was Chase? If he was leading the race, that's a different story. If that caution happened when he was leading the race, oh, that caution would have been thrown in about 2 freaking seconds. But if it was him in a wreck, why would they not throw a caution? That's my question. So, anyway, I'm moving on for that bullshit because both races ended, like, the truck race and the cup race both ended like shit. I hated both those races with a burning passion. Like, if you have to turn a driver to win a race, then you don't deserve to win a race to begin with. And that was just the worst cup race I've seen at Talladega in my life. So, moving on. We're going to Kansas. I don't like Kansas either, but here we are. It's just going to be another Ford Fest. And as this Xfinity race, it might be a wreck fest too. Let's talk about the Xfinity race for 1 second. The race happened today. One, not remotely a lap in into turn 2, Allgaier gets loose, slides up the truck, and wrecks about a dozen cars, like half a dozen cars. It's like, it took out Bell, it took out him, it took out Cindric. I hate his Cindric. Took out like 4 playoff drivers except for Custer, but he was dealing with power steering issues. He had no power steering. So, anyway, it was just so many cautions in that freaking race. Brandon Jones spun out by himself, and wrecked himself. Several cautions that race, and I'm like, is this Talladega, or has like more cautions than Talladega had at all? Like Talladega had like what, 2-3 cautions max, and this race had like 10, 12. I don't know. It was just way too much. Anyway, for the most of the race, it looked like the 21 car of Hemrick, who has yet to win a race. I'm making this a factor here, why he shouldn't be in the Cup Series. If you haven't won a race in the Xfinity Series, you have no reason to be in the Cup Series. I'm sorry. If you can't prove yourself and haven't closed out a race yet, then you should not be in the Cup Series. That's just my opinion. My opinion. Don't come at me with your craziness. Anyway, screwed it up at the end. Not screwed up, but just found a way to lose yet again. He finished second to John Hunter Nemechek. Props to him. I grown to like him a little bit more after that Cole truck race with Cole Custer incident. He annoys me less. I wouldn't say I like him, but he just annoys me less. He won his first Xfinity race in the 42. I feel like that 42 car has like a tendency of bringing out first-time winners. Like 2 first-time winners in that car this year with Chastain, him, and then last year was Bowman. Then before Reddick came over to JRM, it was Tyler Reddick. So I'm like, it's like 4 first-time winners in the past year in that car. So it's pretty cool. I just got to see the end of the Xfinity race before I went to work today. Overall, it was a good race. Like, there's multiple grooves. People, like, I don't know, they can go 3 wide, and you just need to be careful and not lose it, and or you just cause a whole problem. So anyway, Cup Series, they had practice and qualifying yesterday. Of course, all Fords are just like, top of the leaderboard. Ford took the pole. Like, to me, I don't get it. Like, if you have qualifying speed in practice, shouldn't you have qualifying speed in the actual qualifying? It's like, I swear, it's like at Richmond, Chase had didn't have like any speed whatsoever. It was not Richmond. It was the race before Indy, New Hampshire, I think. I don't remember. But he had Darlington. That's what it was. He had a fast car in practice before qualifying. Was in qualifying trip, but yet qualified 12th or 11th. Like, wait a second. And then people are all complaining, like, he has no speed this week. I'm like, let's go back to Richmond a few weeks ago. He had looked like they had 0 speed whatsoever. Practice, qualifying, nothing. But when it came to the race, he was kicking everyone's ass. He finished in the top 5, fast car, he went from 18th to the top 5 in that race. So, stranger things have happened, but I'm not worried about his speed this week. He's starting 13th. That's not bad. Just outside the top 12. But either way, only one Chevy in the top 12 currently, and that's Bowman. And we need him to run well and win this race, but I doubt that will happen. But if anything, by the grace of God, I'm praying something good happens or a miracle to keep the Fords out of victory lane this week. Then, oh man, wouldn't it be a joy to have another Hendrick driver win a race this year? I just want to see Bowman win his first Cup race. That's all I want. Because everyone just sees him as the underdog and he's just riding around this and that. He has the worst luck on planet Earth. At Dover, he was wrecked out in someone else's mess. He just got cut up in someone else's mess. Talladega, someone else's mess again. Well, technically, someone got him loose and whatnot at Talladega. So he's like deep in the hole, like 60-something points below the cut line with Larson, who sucks in the playoffs, and people still don't believe me. He has a track record since 2016 of sucking and choking in the playoffs. He got by the skin of his teeth just to get into this round. What was I saying? Yeah, he blows engines, blows tires, wrecks his car. Everything that's possibly happened, he's done this season already in the playoffs. He's one good finish in the playoffs, and that was Las Vegas. He finished second. Other than that, he's kind of sucked. This weekend, he had to go to a backup car because he ran into the wall during practice, blew a tire. At the Roval, he wrecked his car. Talladega, spun out his car and got damaged. Dover, he sucked. He was being praised by the announcers, he's gonna run up in the top 5 and contend for a win, he does do at every track he's good at, which is they think is every single one. They're he's gonna win and be contested. He wasn't even a factor in that race. He wasn't even in the top 10 or top 5 at all. So he's gonna be knocked out for sure if he doesn't win. I know for a fact he's not gonna win because he has a shitty car. Brad Keselowski's 18 points out, and Blaney's 22 points out. So one of those two need to win to get themselves in. All four I feel need to win to get in. But all I want is for Truex to get knocked out because I'm sick of hearing about the big three when they have not been a freaking factor in the playoffs. Only one driver, Busch, of the big three, has won, and that was at Richmond. None of them have. Truex has not won since Kentucky or Kansas? What, the last Kansas race or Kentucky? I don't know. But he hasn't won in months, and I don't understand why they keep continuing to think they are factors and favorites in these playoffs. Yes, they have the points, but that's not gonna. As you saw, Truex only has 18 points to the good, and that can go away just like that. And they're thinking, oh, he's gonna win this race because he's super good at it. He won it the last time. Lord have mercy. Let's just get over it already. Anyway. Kansas. I want to forget about it. I want to move on to Martinsville, which is next. And then Texas. And then Phoenix. So, Martinsville's a good track for Chase. Texas is a good track for Chase. And so is Phoenix. So, I'm not worried. And people are saying he's not worthy of being in the Final Four, but with his track record in the playoffs, the first 2 years, he's capable of doing so. So, yeah. And I got my throwback shirt on. So, ready for the race tomorrow? Tomorrow's my birthday. I'll be 27. I know I don't look it, but I'm going to be 27. So, hopefully, Chase has a good run. My drivers have a good run. I'm going to go out to dinner with my family. And yeah, so have a good day.